All right, I cut it because I know we are on a time crunch. I
That's all
appreciate
right.
you for making some time for us. I know you are headed out in the airport right now, so at any moment in time they'll call you to board the plane. So we can jump right into it, guys. What's going on? It's me, Mike Seville, with
The
Community
real
Beacon. I
estate
got
king. That's
the brother.
him. The
The brother
man, the
won't.
myth, the legend.
The brother won't let me skip it. But on the other side of the screen, we have the incomparable, my brother from another mother, Mr. Joel Simmons. As you can see, he's in a he's traveling, so we definitely appreciate him, or I definitely appreciate him for making the time. So this will be a quick show. Man, if you all didn't catch our last show, I'm telling you, fire! Lots of stuff that came out of that show um in regards to making room, and I'm telling you, the more that I make room in my life, the more blessings that have come to me, and I really can be a testament to that in the last week. One of the things that was made room for last week, we spoke about a brother by the name of Myron Golden. Now, I don't know if the brother remembers, but maybe about a year and a half to 2 years ago, I sent him a video with Mr. Myron Golden early in the morning. It might have been like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't even know if he
Did you
remembers
really?
that. I did, and I was just like, "Huh, I know I sent the brother, but this might have been almost like a year and a half ago, brother. I sent you a video by Myron Golden, but I'm glad that he, uh, you brought him back up last week, and so it's interesting for me and my relationship with watching the videos of Myron Golden. And for those of you who don't know, go on YouTube or Instagram. He's everywhere. It's a guy by the name of Myron Golden. Um, I don't know what he would call himself, business coach, etc. But he
Yes.
definitely takes a lot of principles from the Bible. I think at one point in time he was a pastor, and I'm not sure if he's still one now, but he a lot of his principles do come from the Bible. So I have this relationship with him because for me, this might sound crazy, but Myron makes things so simple. He really has a way of turning things around and putting it back on and making you look at yourself in the mirror. He has a way of saying, well, if you believe in yourself, then why aren't these things happening, etc. So every now and then I plug into him, and then I'm like, man, he's just making this too easy for me, and I plug back out. But here was something that I was listening to a video of him earlier, and that's why we got the title, and we'll jump into it. The truth shall make you free, because this was something that we brought up last week as well. Here was a quote that I took from him. He said, "Some of us have been taught to ignore the simple truth and find a complicated lie." Now, when the brother brought that up, I said, my Lord, for the last couple of months, I've been just breaking down a lot of these illusionary things. These, we come up, we hear these buzzwords, we hear this talk, and we tend to make it so overly complicated because we're looking to find things that are complicated when a lot of these things can be just as simple as exactly what it entails. And we don't live life by intention, like we're not being intentional about it. One of the things that we often say, brother, I know I've said it several times on the show, was that words have meaning, right? Words have meanings. And so one of the things that we do, and I love it, this is me and Joel's back and forth, is we say something and then we look it up. Like, what is that? He'll say, like last week the word was pensive. He was like, what does that mean, brother? And so I said, okay. I said what the word meant to me. He looked it up, and I think he looked it up from the Oxford Dictionary, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it
Webster.
Webster's? You looked it up from Webster's. I happened to look it up from Oxford. We exchanged the meanings to it, and Webster's had a slightly different meaning to it. Webster's had something that had to do with it kind of, for me, I would say had like a, I don't want to say a negative connotation, but it wasn't positive. It was kind of like It came from a different
That's good
place.
the way you said it right there. It was
It-
it wasn't positive, but it wasn't negative. So
right.
uh,
And then Oxford had I thought had a positive connotation to it. But here's the thing: is that so the brother heard saw his thing, which was his truth, because that's what he was looking up. His truth came out of the Oxford. My truth came out of the Webster's. But what we were able to do was find the one truth, which is the one that we both would have agreed on. And so when I go back and I look at this quote that I wrote for Community Beacon, the truth shall make you free. It doesn't say your truth will make you free. It doesn't say my truth will make you free. It says the truth will make you free. Um, and brother, I know I quote you all the time. There was a long time ago. You may not even remember this. This might have been 4 years ago. The brother said, "Well, if you're seeking the truth and I'm seeking the truth, then we all gonna meet on the same place because there's only one truth." And so it's just I don't know. This is like it's so exciting and it's so joyful for me to have this conversation in regards to the truth because I think a lot of us are in search of it. How much time we put into the searching, I don't know. Um, but I know that the truth is out there, and if we're constantly just doing it, not based on our feelings, but just constantly looking for the truth and being able to come to some type of agreement with it, that we can get so much further. I know I said a lot. Maybe it's a word salad, but what do you get from that, brother?
yeah, you hit a lot of things. Hit a lot of things. I think I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
focus
yeah,
in on the truth. Focus in on the truth. I think that's the most important part of that entire subject is about the truth, and and that subject matter coming out of the Bible. It says a lot for me personally. John 8:32, and it's just that true truth doesn't need anything to back it up. It's not looking for anything to prove it. And I think that that's the most important thing about truth. In the search for truth, you're looking for something that is stable,
yeah.
unmovable, abounding. So I like the conversation that we're talking about right now because freedom is first a state of mind. It reminds me of what's his name, Mike? They call him the Hurricane,
Reuben Carter.
Reuben the
Yeah,
Hurricane Carter, and um, his testimony was that when he was locked up for a crime he did not commit, that he had to find a way to survive, and so his way of surviving was abstinence from the common way of the jail system.
yeah,
He said if they were up in the courtyard, then he was sleeping. If they were sleeping, then he was up working out. And he created his own freedom by freeing his mind from the system that he was in. Now, I thought that was probably one of the most interesting things because as people living in a free society, Western culture, free society, I feel like we find ourselves locked up more than we are free, oftentimes being barred by the cell phones and the social media and the television and the desires of this world, always desiring to have something that we don't
mm,
have and not being so much as grateful for what we do have. I find that we put ourselves behind bars in a free society. And when you just walk through a community, any community, you can find people that are ball and chained to circumstances, to processes, and to their own to obscurity of their own minds. They're just lost.
I'll, I'll I'm with you, brother. This was along the lines of thinking I was thinking this morning as well, especially in regards to what there's a brother calls it the SLB, self-limited beliefs. Um, I experienced that on the trip to Jamaica.
Mm,
Um, I mean here was I got off the plane and I just noticed how beautiful this place was. And I invite you to do it when you go where you're headed to now. When you get off the
mm,
plane and look around and experience the beauty that's there. And then you look at the people who are there, and because they see it so much, they don't experience that same beauty.
mm.
They just experience it in a certain kind of way.
It eludes
Eh,
it
I-
eludes you when you're around it so much. Mm,
so I
that's deep.
came back to Florida and I said the same thing. I was walking my dog, might have been Monday or Tuesday, and I'm just like, look how beautiful this place is right now. Like the sun is shining, the wind is blowing, my neighbors are outside. My neighborhood is filled with wavers. All we do is wave back and forth. We're waving, we're stopping, and we're talking. Like it's a true community. However, if you can just take that for like granted, like this isn't beauty as well. So I'm like, I totally feel and understand the beauty in Jamaica, whereas I think some people there take it as a prison sentence. They put themselves behind bars.
Mm,
And then here in Florida may be the same thing. When I worked at the Youth Empowerment Center, it was interesting to me. I said, because we were on when we had moved to Pleasant City, I said if you went over 2 blocks, you are amongst some of the richest people. There's the some of the most abundant things, and materialistic wise, this is going on, right? If you go over 2 blocks from Pleasant City to where we were. But if you stayed within the confines and you locked yourself in Pleasant City here in this free society, oh Lord, Bob Marley said, free your mind from mental slavery.
mm.
You can actually put yourself there with these limited beliefs. Here's the truth. We have everything that we need. Myron Golden was talking about being born rich. We already have everything. It's already been given to us. And it's only our self-limiting beliefs, these lies, that keep us locked up.
Mm.
These things that we tell ourselves that keep ourselves locked up. So here's my question to you. How does one free themselves? What would you say to that?
Yeah, yeah. I love that, Mike. I think that, what you were just talking about is probably one of the most purest ways of doing it. Just kind of like recommitting yourself to the nature of life, you know. In some cases, in most cases, I would start off with just getting back to God as a basis. Here's the thing, man. I found this to be such groundbreaking um, decision for me. Every time I get moving and I'm progressing and I'm moving forward, driving, striving, I find that when I slow down and just ensure that my alignment with my creator is right, that slows everything else down. Everything else, because it's like it's like that. You mentioned Myron Gold. Myron Golden. One of the things he always say is that life should be more of an ebb and flow than a hustle and grind.
Yeah, that's what he said today, brother. All
Yeah,
right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. It should be more of an ebb and flow than a hustle
Yep.
and grind. And it's about finding that peace, man. Being in that peace and being your true self. And I think about it, because even when I started out on this journey for myself, for me it was all about showing people how to become free. that was a big thing for me. It's like, listen, let me show you how to become free, because I had barred myself up inside of my own mind. I had
Hmm.
really, what does that say? Most people who's trapped in a certain way don't even know that they are free, mentally restrained. So yeah, so Tyrene Lowrick
Tyron,
wrote
that's
that.
Ty.
Tyron, Ty,
Yeah.
he wrote that on Mike's Facebook, and that's that like Ty, that's it right there, my man. It's just like that's what had happened to me. And it wasn't because I was out seeking for riches, wealth, or some other type of carnal thing. It was simply because for me, it was family. It was family. And so it's like you can get lost in anything, right? So when Paul talks to Timothy, he talks to Timothy and he tells him, he says that endure hard things as a good soldier. And it's like, okay, what exactly are you saying by endure hard things as a good soldier? Endure hard things, that means you've got to press through, overcome. As a good soldier, you've got to go through the fire. I'm like, this thing hit me earlier today, Mike, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I got to go there. So I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm thinking about Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. Who would they have been if they had not made a decision, number one, that they were going to only serve God? Who would they have been, right? They could have been any one of the other Israelites that were carried out captive and never were mentioned. That's one of the options. They could have been a non-mention. So, but now they chose to stand on God no matter what. All right. So now, number two, who would they have been if they had not stood for God? You know, uh, again, they could have been a castaway, never mentioned. But because they did stand, they ended up creating a paradox around them. People could not stand them. Like, how dare these jokers come up inside of my neck of the woods? They are my captive, and they walk around here like they running the place. Going to tell me if they can, what they can and can't do? We're gonna get them wrapped up and tied up in something. Now, here's the thing, right? Many of us are sitting here in life and we are trying our best to achieve something, and we don't even realize we've already achieved something.
I didn't tell you.
We don't realize that we've already become great. We don't recognize it. Now these men, it doesn't the Bible never says anything about them recognizing how great they were, but we as the people who read their story in the book of Daniel are like, those are some bad men. I mean, think about it. Thousands and thousands of years of writing research and history, and of all of the millions, billions of people that had lived and died, these men made the book. Talk about a who's who, right? Out of billions of people, they made the book. Now, they end up being thrown inside of the furnace because of their belief and because they were not ashamed to stand up for their belief. But they were not made into what they became until after the fire. They became governors over everybody else that had cast them down. The same men that threw them in were killed by the fire. The same people that set them up, that thing came back on them. And then they became the bosses of everybody else. I mean, that's what God is doing. And so, like, it blew my mind because it's like, for those that are seeking to be their greatest, number one, be grounded. Know who you are, what you stand for, and then stand for it. Number two, Keep walking in that direction. Don't give up nor waver from whatever it is that you believe in. You have to endure hardness as a good soldier. Number three, it's not for you to make the thing manifest, but the thing will be made manifest because you have never given up. The race is not given to the strong nor to the swift. It's not bred to the wise, but it comes down to those that endure unto the end. When you have the fortitude to take your belief, to take your values, to take your morals, to take your core value and drive that into the eternal. You have the power to change lives everywhere. That's being rich. That's being wealthy. And the scripture teaches us then you will have favor from both God and men. And that's what they ended up doing just by standing. That's all they did. They just stood for what they believed in. They didn't do anything special. They didn't go out and start a click funnel. They just they just, they just stood for their
I
belief.
so that I love it, brother, because that they didn't go out and start a click funnel. Just stand for something. I think oftentimes we get caught up into the ego because the ego is going to tell you that you need to be here. You start comparing. I need to be here. It needs to happen this way or it needs to happen that way. All you got to do is stand for something and stand in your greatness. Here's the thing: most people aren't doing it. So just by that alone is going to be is going to separate you. Oh man, there goes Siri talking
Just by
too.
that alone.
Just by that
Just by
alone.
that
Listen,
alone.
listen, everyone. I'm glad the brother jumped in. This was a hot, quick topic. Shouts out to Ty for checking in. Ty, man, I see what you got going on. You're right. I don't know if you were on when we spoke in regards to we're trapped in a certain way. Bob Marley spoke about it. Free yourself from mental slavery. Guys, speak the truth and it will make you free. Other than that, listen, man, we appreciate you all. Quick show. I'm glad to have heard it. I'm probably going to listen to it again. Maybe you should too, and add what you need to add if you're coming in and checking on later on, man. We appreciate you. Thank you, brother, for checking in with us, and we out of
Yeah.
here.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.